next part that we wanted to talk to you about was the techniques that you employ in your programs, your classroom techniques. How do you go about delivering your information to a classroom?
That's great. This is probably the best interview I've had for a long time. Well, and I mean that seriously. One of my fundamental techniques is the belief that science or concept is meaningless unless it triggers the intuition of the recipient. And what I mean by triggering the intuition of that recipient is you don't want to go and start telling somebody about CDMA by starting with CDMA. You need to use a language that they understand, if you like, in order to explain concept which they do not understand. And only when I'm convinced that their intuition is triggered, that I will probably use the mathematics or the physics to somewhat confirm that intuition. Some of the techniques would probably be anecdotes or stories or analogies or pictures. I love mental pictures. I think that I always start most lectures with a mental picture on which I can cue the different parts of the lecture. And I use the board extensively. I draw a lot of cartoons. But I would then say that my presentation techniques is one, try to appeal to the intuition, two, confirm that intuition with solid engineering principles, and three, create mental pictures through images, drawings, and those kinds of things. And I love an interactive style. I'm not good at delivering speeches, but I love interactive presentations. So that is, in a nutshell, if you like, some of the strategies that I have when I present materials.
How about in the area of materials, as far as workbooks, graphics, studies, or how do you have any prepared, or do you prepare them in advance?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I didn't bring any along with me today, but both in the area of satellite communications and the area of PCS and wireless communications, I've developed a series of workbooks. In satellite, I actually have three workbooks, starting with an introduction, some detail, what I call link budget analysis, and a third which focuses on VSAT, which is one class of satellite technology. In PCS and wireless communications, the first, I think, is the whole series called PCS, a Telecommunications Revolution. Volume 1 looks at what is PCS, what is the paradigm shift from fixed location connectivity type networks to the connectivity to person or person-oriented type connectivity, calling a person, not a place, so to speak. And then the players who are playing the game, who's going to play the PCS game. Then also look at the embryonic PCS technologies around the world, like CT2 in Europe, CT2 plus in Canada and in the Pacific Rim, CT3, the digital European cordless telecommunications, the GSM, which is the digital cellular approved or adopted by the Europeans, and the DCS 1800 type technology, as well as the CDMA technologies here. So I have workbooks that are already in place, and that's what I use for my presentation. So actually, every student gets to have three books every time I make these long presentations course, for a customized course, I'll have to put a set of specific notes together just for that purpose.
You mentioned the term interactive. How, I mean, other than just in the classroom, the traditional stand-up in front of a classroom interaction that you get with the audience or the students, how do you interact as far as giving the student the feeling that he's learning something other than listening to you? Meaning, does he get to practice what you preach, or do you give him some idea of what he's up against in the real world?
Very good.
So, can you answer?
Sure. Actually, I would probably say I can probably think of 3 types of interaction schemes that I use. One is always encouraging participants to respond to questions. I would, my encouragement is your answer does not have to be right. All I need to have is a point of reference. So I know at least where you stand, and using that point of reference, we can hopefully convince you that there's a different answer. So I really encourage people to ask questions and to respond to questions. The second type of interaction is that I always create a workshop in my presentations. And in the workshop, I try and involve classroom participation. If I could give you an example of that type of an interaction, is anyone there familiar with frequency hopping in spread spectrum technology?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, very good. I will probably just demonstrate frequency hopping by simply creating a scenario where a headquarters officer was trying to communicate, say, to a field commander. And we have an enemy jammer in the middle who's trying either to intercept the communications, or, if they can't intercept the communications, to jam the communications. And I really pick characters out of the class and kind of demonstrate how frequency hopping, or the mechanics of frequency hopping. And I do the same thing, for example, on direct sequence CDMA, where I create that mental picture of an international cocktail party where everybody's talking a different language, and try to set up the rules under which such a cocktail party can be optimized in terms of the number of people who can talk simultaneously at the same time, such as volume control, the distance to the other guy speaking different languages, and then use all these elements to show that indeed, technically, that's what is being done in direct sequence spread spectrum CDMA, for example. And the final thing that I do for interaction would be to actually go around the class and actually ask every participant to summarize 3 key ideas that they've retained from the course so far, for example. And they will tell me, give me some feedback of what they think they've learned, and those kinds of ideas. So these are the 3 interactive techniques that I